Hi guys, today I'm back with another foundation review. Today I'm going to be putting the new Too Faced Born This Way matte to the test. This is going to be a review where I show you application, I'll show you before and after, how it looks in flash photos, how it looks in natural light, and I will wear it throughout the entire day to show you how it holds up on my skin. This one I'm going to put it through a little bit more of a test though, because they're making some crazy 24-hour claims. So I actually am getting my hair done today, so it's going to take me about an hour and a half to walk to my hair appointment. I'm going to be wearing a mask there. She's going to be washing my hair, so I mean, let's do it. And it's like 4 million degrees outside. I will have timestamps down below if you would like to skip ahead to any particular part of the review if you don't want to hear what I have to say about something. And I will also have links down below for other foundation reviews. I will have a blog post swatching this next to some other shades. In addition to that, I have reviewed the Born This Way original foundation, the powder foundation. I reviewed pretty much all of the Too Faced foundations. So if you'd like a comparison and how I kind of would compare this to those, they will all be linked down below. But let's go ahead and get started, and be sure to subscribe if you enjoy this type of video. So if you didn't hear about this foundation, it is Too Faced's latest, and this one, by comparison to the original Born This Way, if you look at kind of the Sephora descriptions, they're not really saying that a ton is different with the exception of the finish. The original has a natural finish, while this is supposed to have a matte finish and the 24-hour claim, which, like, I think we know we should be generally washing our face at night as many times as we can, but it says it's undetectable, super long wear foundation. That being said, I did find the original Born This Way, even when I was oily, to be quite a nice long wearing foundation if you hadn't considered it. But this one talks about being lightweight, medium to full coverage, that is buildable, acne-genic, waterproof, oil-free, and transfer resistant. So lots of big claims there. I'm going to be wearing the shade Caramel. Generally I wear the shade Honey. This is the shade they sent me though, and I feel like it's going to work, so I figured I might as well test it out. And like I said, in the blog post I will have linked down below, I will swatch this next to Honey if you'd like to check it out, but just to be clear. So I'm going to go ahead now and prime this half of my face, and let's get it on my face. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take about 1 pump so far. You don't get a ton in a pump, which I don't mind. I'm going to be using a sponge today to apply, and that will kind of affect your coverage a little bit. And I feel like Caramel is going to end up a little bit deep for me, a little bit deeper, but I think I can still make it work. And yeah, like I said, both of the claims on the foundations, when you compare like description to description, they're pretty much exactly the same, like in terms of some of the ingredients and things they have, which makes sense, like they're both part of the same collection. But yeah, it definitely has a little bit more strong claims when it comes to what it can do. So I'm going to end up using, I'd say, 2 pumps. I gotta say, I'm getting like a little tired of this packaging. I think it was cute to begin with. I don't know if it's because it's been out for a while, but it's kind of starting to look dated to me. Some of the stuff they're putting out, it's like, I can't tell if it looks like retro and cute or looks kind of dated and tired. But I will say the original Born This Way foundation is one that I really love. The concealer is one of my favorite concealers of all time, and the powder foundation I have not stopped wearing either as a powder foundation or to set my face. So I have I've had good experiences with their complexion products. And I prefer the Born This Way over the Peachy Matte or the Dewy one, because they have better shade ranges too. There's 35 shades. I didn't even tell you the price. It is $40 American and 52 Canadian. And the original Born This Way is 51 Canadian. So it's $1 cheaper, but you're getting a full fluid ounce in here. So this shade actually isn't a bad match. You can see it blends out. It's not like immediately matte on the skin either. It has a little bit of a foundation-y scent. Nothing super strong in my opinion. So far the coverage and everything is blending up nice. It doesn't have that typical super matte 24-hour foundation feel where it's like, it's so thick and gluggy and heavy and cakey. So I didn't end up using that full 2nd pump, or 4th pump I guess really in total. So I'm just gonna let it, like normally I wouldn't, but I do want to just let it sit for like a minute or two just to see how much more matte it gets, because right now it doesn't look that matte. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. I will say it definitely does not look completely shine-free. This is the side that I primed with the Smashbox. I quite like this primer, although I don't know if it's discontinued or not. It doesn't look completely shine-free right off the bat, which I don't mind. This is kind of a look like a more natural matte perhaps, but for something that says matte and says it's completely shine free right off the bat, we are not completely shine free. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. I did just take some photos. I thought it looked really beautiful in both of the photos here in my studio lighting. I thought it looked really nice. There's a sheen to my skin. And then in the flash photo, no major flashback, but you can see it does actually look a little bit lighter than my body, which is interesting. Which I mean, that is kind of flashback, but I always find whenever I'm wearing foundation, unless it's quite dark, like really dark, it's not always going to match up because my body is so much deeper and so much more golden. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, super simple, and I will be right back. So here's the finished look, super simple. Everything that I'm wearing is always listed down below. I do really enjoy the way this foundation looks. It doesn't feel or look heavy or cakey. As you'll see in the close-up, I think it looks pretty good as well. I definitely do have lots of breakouts and things like that, but I feel like with no spot concealing, everything came together quite well. The shade match maybe isn't perfect, but it's definitely doable. And I always get the question about transfer proof. In my opinion, pretty much nothing is fully transfer proof or transfer resistant, because not only for me anyways, am I looking at the foundation, but I'm wearing a powder foundation over this, I'm wearing bronzer, I'm wearing a whole bunch of stuff, so nothing is transfer proof to me. But some things are better than others, some things kind of wipe off and slide around and things like that. So that's kind of what's the most important thing to me. But yeah, overall I think this looks really beautiful, but I would never say that this is like a super matte foundation. But that being said, the super matte foundations of the past, aka like 3-4 years ago, were so heavy, were so cakey. So as long as this can hold up, I'm so far happy with it. But if you are the type of person that has really oily skin and wants like a completely, you know, more flat matte look, so far it's not doing it for me. My apartment is warm, it is humid, but again, if you're a matte foundation, you should be a matte foundation. So I need to kind of judge it on a combination of how I feel about it personally, but also what does it claim it does? Because if it doesn't do what it claims it does, and it's still good for me, then great. But if you're looking for like super matte, no shine, then this may not be the case. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the road. Like I said, I've got about an hour and a half walk ahead of me, then I'm gonna be in the salon for maybe 2 hours, and then I will show you maybe some clips along the way of how it's looking, and then yeah, she'll be washing my hair and stuff. So we're really putting this puppy to the test today, so I will see you in a little bit. Okay, I am back. I figured I would leave my mask on so that I could see how it looks. Obviously tons of transfer. Doesn't surprise me. It is super hot outside. I haven't worn much makeup with a mask on, honestly. You can see that I definitely lost a lot of coverage. Oh, I forgot. I cried. I haven't seen my hairstylist in a while, and you know, things have been a little tough lately. So we were chatting and I did cry a little bit. So, but I mean, if it's supposed to be lasting for 24 hours, I know that this is not a typical review. I'm definitely putting it through a lot more than I potentially normally would with the hair salon and the walking and the crying. But if you say you're going to last for 24 hours, you never know what's going to happen in the run of a day. I did lose a little bit of coverage up here, but when I let it set on my face for a little while, I don't know that I updated you, but I didn't feel like it completely set on my face. I still felt the need to powder it. It didn't feel like super greasy or anything, but it definitely didn't feel completely matte. And I don't feel like it has oxidized too badly, maybe warmed up slightly. So anyways, I'm going to continue to wear this for a few more hours. It feels weird being like, I cried today. But if I'm being honest, that's probably why there's like a little bit of extra on the mask, but definitely quite a bit on there. So anyways, I will check back with you in a few more hours. Okay, so here we are at the end of the day. I think you can definitely see, and I noticed afterwards, a big chunk of foundation missing right here. I would assume that is due to tears. Considering, like you can see, I lost some coverage here, I lost this bit here, but otherwise it looks pretty good. Like not major chunks, just kind of like it wore off on the mask a bit. I did not touch up throughout the day. This was the side I primed, which perhaps turned out a little bit better, but I really did put it through the ringer today. So we need to consider that. This is not my first time wearing it. I did find the other days that I wore it, it wore nicely. That being said, like I haven't worn the Peach Perfect or the original Born This Way in a little while. I do love the original Born This Way. I'm always testing out new things. So like I said, I will have those linked down below. I can't 100% say how this compares, but if I want to compare it to what they say it does, I mean, I don't think it's as bulletproof as they say it is, but it is a really nice foundation. If you tried the original Born This Way and you found it to be a little bit too shiny, perhaps you could give this one a go, although I did enjoy that when I had oily skin. I feel like the formulas don't seem all that different. Also for the shade, I think you can see like it's kind of deepened up and oranged and oxidized slightly, but this is not my best shade. Honey would probably be my best shade. I just think it's getting, I feel like it's a little bit old school to be doing this like bulletproof foundation thing. I really appreciate when brands are a little bit more realistic, because it's like, you say 24 hours, but like, it's just kind of silly to me. I would pick up the original Born This Way myself, but this is a good one, but I just don't see a huge difference between the two, because this one, when you look at the Sephora descriptions, like they look very similar with the exception that one says matte, one says natural, but you saw it on my face after I let it set. It didn't go completely matte. Something like the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop, I feel like, is more matte on initial application. Even my Shiseido Synchro Skin, I think I would prefer to this one. Just feels a little bit unnecessary because it's just not different enough than the original Born This Way, if I'm being completely honest. So, you know, if you want to pick it up at Sephora, make sure, you know, if you can, get a sample. That's always super helpful. I don't feel like it is the most matte foundation out there, but I don't think it's bad either. I think it just kind of talked itself up too much, so I'm gonna stick with my original. Let me know down below if you have tried this, if you plan on trying it, and I will link some videos down below of other matte foundations that I really like. But if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!